This video is long overdue, like a good couple of years overdue. It's a Friday night, no it's not, it's a Saturday night, and I'm having a wee gin. And we're going to talk America. And when I say America, I mean the USA. Some of you might remember. Those that are new won't have a bloody clue what I'm talking about. But in 2019, I got the opportunity of a lifetime. I still can't believe it happened. I got to go to the USA with the US Embassy and 8 other social media people, and Dan and Phoebe who helped organise it, and oh my god, it was just the most amazing experience of my entire life. It still feels like a dream, like it was some weird fever dream that I had. It didn't actually happen. If I didn't have the vlogs to prove it, then I vlogged the entire trip, so I've got 4 vlogs from each state that we visited. I have like a couple of other videos that explain it as well. We'll go into that in a minute. But the trip was sort of exploring American values through TV shows. It's very interesting. I love TV shows. I was well into this. The first place we visited was Washington DC, and I missed the entire first day of this because I was stuck in the airport, and I have an entire video on my crazy Glasgow airport and US airport experience. It was unbelievable. Please go and watch it. It's the most frustrating thing in the world, but also looking back it's kind of funny. So I missed the whole first day, so I missed like Rolling Thunder and all that, and it was Memorial Weekend, so they did a lot of stuff on that first day that I never got to experience. I had a whole other experience of my own. Yeah, the TV show Washington DC was based on was West Wing, and I haven't actually seen West Wing. This all happened so quickly that I never got a chance to watch the TV shows before I went. It just was like bam bam bam, and then I was there. After Washington DC we went to Indiana, mainly Indianapolis, and we went to Fishers as well, but yeah, Indiana was based on Parks and Rec. The state after that was New Mexico, mainly Albuquerque, which was Breaking Bad. I'm reliving it in my head a little bit and I'm like, oh, that was amazing. And then California, which was just like general TV, and we stayed in LA, so that was interesting. So as I said, I missed the first day. I missed Rolling Thunder. I missed this thing that they went to. They told me all about it and it sounded very interesting. And then when I arrived, first of all, see when I got there, I was so tired. I'd spent 9 hours in the airport one day, 9 hours in the airport the day before. I'd been up for 24 hours plus. When I got to the hotel, finally, it was after like 12 o'clock at night or in the morning, and the receptionist gave me my key, and I went up into the room, right? And there was like people's clothes like all over the room, and like it was clearly a lived in room, and I thought, oh, maybe I'm sharing with some of the other girls. And then I heard a toilet flush, and then I just ran out because I got so like freaked out, and I went back to reception and I said, just double checking, am I sharing with people or have you given me someone else's room? And he was like, oh my god, he'd given me an occupied room. I had walked, can you imagine, I'd went in and someone was just like lying on the bed watching, because the telly was on and the bed covers were off, and whoever's room I'd went into, obviously they just went to the toilet, and I could have been caught. Can you imagine? So this person has no idea that I went into their room. I saw their stuff. So yeah, he was very apologetic. He was like, oh my god. So this video is about my favourite things about my US trip. In this video I'm going to cover the first 2 states. Well, I'm going to cover Washington DC, and then I'm going to cover Indiana. And then in the next video, I'm going to talk about my absolute favourite part of the trip. Favourite part was New Mexico, but I'm going to talk about Washington DC and Indiana, and Indiana was one of my favourite places that, oh, it was amazing. It was so good. How many times am I going to say amazing in this video? But anyway, I got to my hotel, I was just blown away. I was like, this is great. And then I went to bed and I was up early. I got maybe like 4 or 5 hours sleep, but I woke up pure fresh. I just felt so good. I was like, I'm in America. I'm in America. Like, what the hell? And see that first like moment of going downstairs, meeting everyone, and then like actually walking outside in DC, going on the subway. I was just like, what is going on? And it was so clammy. Like it was in the summer, so it was like I was wet, not in a good way. It was not good. So DC was a complete blur, and go and watch that vlog if you want to see what we did in DC, but I'm not going to talk about DC too much because it wasn't my favourite part of the trip, but I think that was just because I never really got to experience much of it. And the first like day that I was there, I was thrown in, and it was just like memorial stuff in Arlington Cemetery, and I was just still like jet lagged and confused, and I was like, what's going on? And it was all a very strange, it was a very strange experience for me. Amy, who I was on the trip with as well, she covered it. Not my friend Amy from Scotland, but like another Amy. I actually met her in London the other weekend there. Anyway, we went for brunch, but she covered it really well in her vlog, so I'll link her channel down below as well, and you can go and watch her perspective of the videos. It's interesting watching like the trip from different people's perspectives. But anyway, yeah, DC does not stick out in my head too much. It was just a blur. I think I was still half asleep for that part. It was still incredible and I had an amazing time, but Indiana sticks out in my head more, so I'm going to talk about that. But before I move on to Indiana, if you're new to my channel, I'm Erin. I make videos about Scotland, the outdoors, sometimes mental health, sometimes creepy things, sometimes Scottish gin, and life in general. If you're not yet subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe, especially if you're wanting to see the next US video. I'm going to do like maybe a wee series about my US trip and what I thought of it and all different things like that, so stay tuned. And turn on the notification bell if you want notified of when I upload, because YouTube is crap at that sometimes. I'm not impressed. The main thing that sticks out in my head from visiting DC was visiting a group called Hip Hop Caucus, which I called Hip Hop Caucus in the last vlog, or in the DC vlog. They empower communities that have been impacted by social injustice, and they help create change through hip hop and politics, and they're very cool people. Even just like that clip in itself, it stirred the pot a wee bit, like on like, because that video got kind of more views than my normal videos, and I think, I don't know why it hit the algorithm, but people were like, this was like an agenda that the embassy and the trip was like pushing these leftist views onto us, because like the Hip Hop Caucus mentioned Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, and that was the tiniest portion of the vlog, and everyone just sort of focused on that. And no matter if this group support Black Lives Matter, right, and like what is wrong with that, they mention so many other things that they do as well, but for some reason just that mention of Black Lives Matter, they were like, nope, they're not showing the real America, all this stuff. And I was like, you do realise, right, that we aren't robots and we can form our own opinions, but also they showed us different things. Like for example, right, I'll talk about this in the New Mexico video, but we met up with the police in New Mexico, and the police there have very different views on things that we do. In the group itself, we all kind of had different views as well. Some of us had very similar political views, but others didn't. It wasn't all the same thing. They weren't pushing anything onto us. They let us take in the information and make our own decisions about everything. We were like challenging this police officer about like guns and stuff like that, and we were all having this really interesting debate and chat about like gun violence and stuff like that, and it was really interesting and it was just good. It wasn't like heated, it wasn't, we all just like got our views out and we were all just chatting about like what each other thought, and it was really good. And that's healthy, like that's a good thing. The fact that this trip encouraged debate and it encouraged challenging each other's views, isn't that a good thing? But anyway, people just heard Black Lives Matter and were like, ugh. Also, hi, Ed and Erin here. I don't want this to turn into a debate. That was just a part of the video to say that that's what people focused on rather than the main focus on what this group actually did. The fact that this group did so much good, but yet people were just willing to ignore all that because they mentioned one thing. So I don't want that to be the focus of this video. And I also want to say that the embassy specifically said to us that we didn't have to create content on this trip. They weren't asking us to create content. We could literally make content about whatever we wanted, and we could show whatever we wanted, and there was so much of this trip that people didn't see as well. Like I only captured what I wanted to capture and what I could capture, because I was just living in the moment, and I only filmed like little bits here and there, and I kind of wanted to capture the fun that I was having and like banter and stuff with my friends that I was there with that I'd made. And you didn't see everything on this trip, but also there was no agenda and we could film whatever the hell we wanted. I could say this whole trip was rubbish if I wanted to, and the embassy could literally do nothing to stop me. They kind of encouraged us saying our own views and stuff like that. That's all by. So Indianapolis, right? I loved Indianapolis. I just loved it. The vibe. See, as soon as we landed on the plane in Indy, like I just felt so much more relaxed. I felt, no shade to DC because it was an amazing place and I had so much fun and I learned a lot, but also it had a very different feel in Indy. It felt more relaxed. The vibe was totally different. Like even like the fact that strangers in supermarkets and in like public places would talk to us openly. It felt more like home, because that's what people in Scotland do, like we all talk to each other. It was more a community vibe. I don't know, it was just different. I love the drive from the airport as well, like seeing all the different houses. It just felt very American, like I felt I was in a TV show, and it's like all different houses that like have porches and stuff that you don't see here. It was interesting. This sounds ridiculous, but I'm not used to seeing stuff like that. We met Peter, who was our guide in Indy, and he serenaded us with a bit of John Mellencamp, because John Mellencamp's from there and I love a bit of John Mellencamp. So we were singing Pink Houses and Jack and Diane, and I loved it. It was amazing. I really loved Peter. He was so funny. I don't think he got me. Firstly, I don't even think he understood me, but I also don't think that he understood my banter. Like, I caught lots of like awkward interactions on camera, and I'll insert some here, but it was just really funny. Like, I was trying to banter with him a lot and he just didn't get it. He just probably didn't understand me, but I enjoyed like trying.
Or Yanks, is that what y'all call us?
Yeah. No, we wouldn't call you that. have you got nice neighbours, Peter?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Plus, our Indy trip started with us going to get food, and that's always a good start. And we went to this place called Public Greens, and the place itself funds a foundation that gives food from the kitchen to underprivileged families, and the food was so good. Like, oh, it was just the perfect start. And the restaurant was playing The Band, another indie band, but they're called The Band, and I was just like, this is great. I just felt so relaxed, and it was just so good. I'm so happy right. Perfect start to the trip, and also going from really clammy DC weather, I think that in itself sort of dampened literally the DC part of the trip, because it was just so clammy and sticky all the time. So going from that to like actually nice weather, it just felt so much better. Actually, I've never been more thrilled to be like a little bit cold. It's lovely, the temperature is so good. So a lot of the DC trip, aside it being based around Parks and Rec, it was also very sports focused, which I'm not into sports, right? But I actually found it quite interesting, because I was doing stuff that I would never have done if I was organising the trip. I would never even have went to Indiana in the first place, and I definitely wouldn't have done anything sport related. But here we were. We visited the NCAA and we had a meeting with them, which was really interesting. And then we got to see the Hall of Champions, and we even played a bit of basketball. Don't want to brag, but yeah, they just shot some hoops and played some b-ball. Just kidding. A big part of this trip was the home hospitality part, and I can't even like fully talk about that on camera because we had such a weird experience. You'll see in that vlog me like crying after it and everything, but I don't even know how to explain it without insulting the family that so kindly took us into their home and made us dinner. Like, how nice is that? But it was just a very weird experience. I can't go into detail because I don't want to disrespect the family, because they were really nice. But it was weird. Even just like their house was insane. It was amazing. It was like this big, proper American looking house that you see in movies. And I was just like, I've never seen a house like this in my life. It was big. And it had a mailbox out the front. We don't have that. But also, like I said, with the clashing of opinions, Abby and Cass went to the home of Kelly Mitchell, who was like in politics. I can't really remember very well. They had Abby had very opposing views to that whole family, who I think were quite right wing. And it was just really interesting hearing about their dinner conversations. They talked about very heavy stuff, and they had very opposing views, but the trip, like the embassy encouraged that. Like the embassy specifically put Abby and Cass, who are very political, into this political home, knowing that, you know, there would be a difference of opinions, and they loved it, and it was very interesting to hear about. But yeah, my dinner, it involved Cleona putting a sausage in her shoe. That's all I'm going to say. We also went to a farm and we got to play cornhole. Not at the farm, this was afterwards. It was all very bizarre, but very good. The highlight of the trip for me was the baseball game, and that is not something I ever thought I would say. Like, I have never been to a baseball game or a game of any sort. I used to be a steward and I used to like work at football games and stuff, but that was, I'm not into sport. So like, it was funny going to a baseball game and we were sitting right next to the pitch with a bar. It was amazing. And then I tried a corn dog for the first time and I was like, it's alright. not what I expected. It was the Indianapolis Indians against the Charlotte Knights. But I only see things like that in TV shows and movies. Again, like the kiss cam and all that, I was like, this actually happens in real life. It was just... When speaking of bars, there was a bar across from our hotel called the Winner's Circle. We loved it. We were there like at night time if we had any spare time. Before the baseball game, we got a wee drink in. And I loved it. Like, people were like talking to us. I made friends with this really tall man who was just lovely, and everybody was just dead friendly. I even got catcalled at one point when I came out of the hotel, but it was a really confusing catcall because the man went, "You look beautiful in blue," and I was like, thank you. I think it was strange. Fishers. I loved Fishers. It had a huge sense of community. Everybody was lovely. It was very Parks and Rec. I felt like I was in Parks and Rec, and it was lovely. We all decided at the time we were going to move there and raise a family. Me and Amy were going to raise a family together, apparently. We're going to have a family, not together,
yeah. But... I'm open to it.
We just loved it. That was like a really big highlight of the trip. It was such a nice wee place. We met City of Fishers who like run free events for the community and like just do things to better the community. And then we met with the actual Parks and Rec team and met the real life Leslie Knope, Linda Broadfoot, and it was so bizarre. We went like to their place of work where they do the things and we met up with the team and everyone was so nice. Like, I feel like we'd all get on really well. Part of that was why I wanted to move there, because I was like, these people are lovely, I want to work here. We got to learn like the history of the place and what they used to use it for, and we got to go in this big massive scary tunnel which they used to keep wild animals in. It was really weird. But the girl that was telling us about it was amazing. Like, just watch her talking about this tunnel. She's so interesting.
They would bring like exotic animals here and then showcase them to people. Like, that's what this park was all about, was people were Indy's oldest park. They would bring in bears and lions and tigers and all kinds of different animals for people to like see up close. Kind of crazy, like the way they did it. And this happened to be, this building's had many lives, but its earliest life was to bring these bears and lions in and store them. And because they're wild animals, they obviously can't just bring them in through the front door where they can, you know, maybe harm somebody. So they basically carved out a tunnel. If you look at the front of my building, there's a big hill. Underneath that hill is where this bear tunnel goes. And it's cemented in now, but so they would come all the way to that end and bring the bears in. And there's this creepy little room with a big dungeony door that they would like, that is not nearly enough room for a bear, but they put the bear in there, so that's what you're gonna see.
Oh jeez. Yeah.
This is the creepy room that's now storage. A very messy storage space, don't judge us. But this ancient door is what they use to like trap the bears in. And beware of cobwebs. Like, watch your girls, watch your girls. So go for it, you might need a flashlight. Is anyone going to get my flashlight?
Yeah.
Look at that echo. Oh, I don't like that. I'm not getting any good love that echo.
Yeah, the people were so friendly and welcoming and bubbly, and I just really wanted to work there and live there, and they had a tortoise sold. It was just such a cool trip. I just can't believe it happened. So many other things happened as well, but you should watch the vlogs if you're interested. I'll put it down below. I've got a playlist, and I've also got a video that I filmed in Ireland where I was talking about the trip and how it all came about. Yeah, that's my Washington DC and Indiana experience. And those were my favourite things about the trip. 100% hands down, my favourite part of the whole trip was New Mexico. And I just finished Breaking Bad, and oh my god, like finally finished Breaking Bad. And like watching that and knowing I've been there, I was just like, this is surreal. But keep an eye out for my New Mexico and LA vlog. And if you have any questions about the trip, please leave them in the comments. Like, what other videos would you like to see based around the America vlogs? Like, let me know. I have a Patreon page if you're interested. I'll put it here. I'm very active over on social media. I'm just beauty creep on everything. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.